Anthony, my point is you were a staunch supporter of him. You went to being an outspoken critic. And guess what? You're still standing. You still have a business. You're still operating. In fact, you're more successful than ever. You've got very strong points of view of it. Why is everybody so scared of him? Why can't people push back?
Okay, so I mean, there could be something to the fact that he knows that he attacked my wife on Twitter, and he knows I'm a New Yorker. I would never tolerate something like that. And so they more or less leave me alone. They know I'm not interested in political office. They know I'm a political pundit and a business person. Okay, I'm not at a big money center bank. If I was at a big money center bank mouthing off, I think they would come hard at me. They come hard at Springsteen because he controls a slice of the culture. You see what I mean? A big money center bank, they'd go hard.
Right, but Bruce Springsteen also goes straight back at Trump. I mean,
right.
what is it about?
Well, I mean, because he's an artist. Well, he's an artist. See, I love him because he's telling you, I'm an artist. This is what I feel. This is the love I have for my country, and I don't care. Okay. And so it's like I say to my wife, I'm named after somebody that landed on Normandy Beach 81 years ago, my Uncle Anthony.
Right.
He was decorated as a World War II veteran, won the Purple Heart. Okay. Got not the Congressional Medal of Honor, but the Silver Star. He got the Croix de Guerre from France. And he was, I mean, I don't know, he's a role model. If he could fight for the country, I'm going to fight for the country.
Why aren't business people more able to stand up?
They're afraid and they have equivocated. I could have easily, Joanna, gone back to my job, kept my mouth shut, gone to the Hamptons, hung out, not been on the Daily Beast podcast, and just relax. I could have done that. Or I could say, hey, this is not right. I got to where I am because of the Constitution, the flat, decentralized nature of the government. I'm talking to you from London. You have a monarchical structure here, and you have a class system.
I know. That's why I moved to America.
Okay, but as a result of which the country went hard left. Okay, because the country went hard left because the people said, hey, I can't get ahead. They're qualifying my accent. I'm from Bethnal Green. They won't let me get ahead. Or I'm from here. My father was a baker. I can't get ahead. So the country has gone to the left. In the United States, because the system is flat, there's no monarch. There are people that have money, but everybody in the United States is new money. Virtually everybody in the United States, Joanna, is an outsider, definitionally, unless you're a Native American. And so now there's a flatter, more aspirational system. This guy and Curtis Yarvin and these guys want to go to a monarchical structure. They want to make Trump a mad king. That's what you guys want to do to the country that's created the most success and the most wealth in the history of mankind. So I'm sorry, I have to speak out against that. I have got 5 children and I've got family that I respect. Of course, I got to speak out against that. My mother, Carol Brady, called from the Brady Bunch. She wants my mother's walnut paneling back, okay? I've been there. When I took Catty K to my mother's house, okay, I mean, her mouth dropped. I was like, Catty, where the hell do you think I grew up? You got a linoleum floor. My mother won't let me renovate it. It's a hallway kitchen. There's one working bathroom. I'm not saying we grew up poor. I would never dishonor my dad by telling you I grew up poor, but that's how we grew up. And look at what I'm doing now in America. It's because of America, Joanna. Yeah, I'm reasonably smart and went to fancy schools, but without America, if my father was a baker in Italy, guess what I'm going to be, Joanna? A baker, okay? And so now, what are you going to do? You want to change the whole system? Guys, you don't want to change the system. Trust me. Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful. You want an oligarchic system with a bunch of jerk-offs at the top worth $1 trillion and everybody else left out? Come on, guys.
All right. So Anthony, you mentioned Catty K. She's obviously your partner in your very successful podcast, The Rest is Politics. You've also got a new podcast with Scott Galloway, Prof. Scott G. Tell us about it. What made you decide to do it? It's called The Lost Boys. And it's
so just to be clear with everybody, the Rest is Politics is sort of a serial podcast. It comes out once or twice a week. We do some special episodes, but the one I did with Scott is actually just a 6-part series. Now, we have talked to some documentarians about potentially turning it into a streaming series. It's going to be a documentary on what's going on with our men in our society right now. There has been a pendulum that has swung hard against white males in the society. There's no advocacy for them. And, women can poo-poo that or whatever, but I'm telling you right now, 46% of the women in the United States voted for Donald Trump. 54% of the white women voted for Donald Trump. When they were asked why, they said, oh, no, I voted for my son. I voted for my husband. I voted for my brother because I want the cancel culture to end and I want the nonsense in the country to stop. And he represents me. He's the Napoleon of the culture war.
But I'd say I find that personally very depressing. I look around at the cabinet of people and think this is shocking that there aren't more women there. You look at the tables supposedly deciding the future of Ukraine and Russia or Gaza and Israel, and you just think, why are there no women at the negotiating table?
I think there should be more women. The Fiona Hills of the world are very talented, very capable. The Hillary Clintons of the world are very talented. Kamala Harris is very talented and capable. But there's a culture war going on, and it's hurt boys. I'll give you the stats. If you're 18 to 30, you're a white male in this country, you have a 30% higher likelihood of committing suicide. That's a stat. That's an accurate number.
I like to say I love men. I even gave birth to 2 white men who were in that thing. And yes, certainly there is a lot of pressure on white men, but when you look around, they're still running things. White men are still running things. And now everybody's being forced to stop DEI from. So all the people that made progress are making less progress.
Well, I mean, that's the failure of the Democratic Party not to organize and coalesce. While Trump is telling 40,000 lies, they told the big lie. Okay, you got a guy very sick who can barely put sentences together, and you're propping him up when you should have said, hey, I'm really sorry. You've got cancer. We got to open up the primary. We can't let you run.
But I hear you on that white men feel that they have been discriminated against. And yet the reality is that 1 in 3 black men will end up going to jail.
Well, again, it's called lost boys because it's black and white boys. It's not just white men. I'm using that category to tell you where a problem is. If this goes well, I have another idea that I probably will present to Scott or somebody else to talk about urban violence and the gun crime and how black males are also struggling. So this is not meant to just be about one group. We have men in the country that have lost a step, that are not getting married, that can't find their footing in careers. They feel depressed. They've lost their self-confidence. And we've interviewed experts and gone to people in the culture and in the world of children, guys like Richard Reeves, who wrote a book about this, to talk about what is going on to raise more awareness. Because when you raise more awareness, you fix problems. When Rosa Parks says, hey, I'm too tired, I'm not sitting in the back of the bus, and then all of a sudden people arrest the country. Wait a minute, what are they doing to these people? Okay, we got to stop that.
What are your solutions to improve the morale of boys and men?
So great question. And it's tied to a number of different things. But the first thing you have to do when you have a problem is raise the awareness. Once it's okay for you to have the problem, imagine if I was suffering from depression and I went to my wife or I went to you as you're a close friend of mine and said, I am suffering from depression. Okay, now you're going to go out and try to help me resolve it, or maybe it's chemical, or maybe it's behavioral, maybe any cognitive behavioral therapy. There's a whole slew of equipment, and then now there's a support mechanism. But if I can't tell you that I have the depression because I feel there's a stigma to it, or there's a social cue that's off now and I'm going to be judged, okay, that's a big problem. So the first thing you have to do is, hey, you feel like this? It's okay to feel like this. There's a lot of people that feel like this. Let us go out there and explain to all the people who feel like this, these are the symptoms of what you're feeling. Okay, I feel like that. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to work on self-esteem. Here are programs. Here are ideas. Here's a mentoring program. These are volunteers that are going to work with you to build your career, help your resume, help you find a job. We're going to plug you into a more supportive network. But step one is we're going to launch this 6-part mini-series. There are apps now where you can shut down the social media. The social media is basically like lung cancer for the brain. You should have a Surgeon General's warning on it, because what ends up happening, your kid gets locked into it, feels FOMO, feels bad, getting cyberbullied in a way that you don't understand, akin to that Netflix show that took place in the UK with the young adolescent. It's stuff like this that I think we can do to make things better. We dropped the first episode on the 15th. We're dropping another one on the 22nd. It's 6 parts. The last episode, I interviewed my wife, who is raising 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's quite vulnerable in the show, where she's like, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm not letting him do enough chores. Or maybe I'm, the laptop's unplugged at night, and my mother would have let me suffer the consequences of an unplugged laptop, and I'm running to plug it in. Maybe there's something we all need to think about in terms of the way we're handling ourselves that can get people to feel more aspirational or better about themselves. I don't know.
I can't wait to watch it, actually, and to listen to it. Will you come back when the 6th episode has aired? Will you come back and talk to us about
of course.
What you've learned from?
Of course, are we gonna? The hair and makeup looks great, by the way. Am I gonna get hair and makeup? Am I gonna get hair and makeup?
This is my hair and makeup. I just did it in the Daily Beast bathroom. I feel
like my agent promised me good hair and makeup for this podcast. I gotta go complain to my agent.
I think what you're reacting to is I've got lipstick on, and do you know why? Because some of the comments last week from our conversation with David Rothkopf, we had 3,000 comments from people, but some of them were about why isn't Joanna Coles wearing makeup? So I'm trying to make
I feel undermade up and under moisturized for this podcast, but it's okay.
Listen, there's almost no one who's more interesting to talk to about what on earth is going on in America right now, especially from the point of view of caring about America and caring for the future of Americans. So
I do, Joanna. I love the country, and the thing about it, I love people. My grandmother had a great line. I'll leave you with 2 great lines to think
Anthony,
about.
why aren't you running for office?
Well, first of all, I'm running for re-election in my marriage. Okay, that's number one. Okay, who knows? I could get fucking term limited on the marriage. Who the hell knows? So, it's a constant campaign.
Well, you came close. Didn't you, to getting divorced? And then you reeled back.
We almost got divorced. We repaired our marriage. Thank God it's better than ever. But, my wife hates politics. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. And then the second thing, which I also think is an important thing, is that if you go and run for office, then you got to start lying. Guaranteed you're going to start lying. You can't get out of it.
Isn't there a possibility that actually the person who comes along next is going to be refreshingly honest and open, and that we've all had to... People in office don't have to be perfect, right? They just have to be able to do the job. And we shouldn't be looking for people to be perfect, because we'll be perennially disappointed.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's realistic about...
You're not electing Jesus. You're trying to elect a problem solver who can help you, but also... You want to elect somebody that, you're like, all right, the guy or the woman is going to do their best to make a great decision. Not looking to line their pockets. They're like, okay, I'm here to serve the people. I had a great life. I'm going to try to serve the people. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, It
seems to me like that's the beginning of a campaign.
No. I'm not. Come on. Please. I need you to, you know what? I'm doing just fine. I don't need another Meteor Strike like I got in 2017. Okay.
All right. Well,
I appreciate it, Joanna. It's great to be on with you. Congratulations on everything you're doing.
Well, back at you, and we will see you soon. And good luck with the Lost Boys.
Thank you. And I will come back.
Good.
If you're okay with it when it's over. All right. Thank you.
All right. Come back and tell us what you've learned. So much to unpack there. I was just thinking about all the headlines that Anthony is going to make in the Daily Beast, not least from President Obama should have intervened faster with the decline in Joe Biden's health, to his new podcast series for Lost Boys and the help that men need, and the fact that women voted for Donald Trump because they were actually voting in support of their sons and their husbands, to his ability to talk about what it means to be an American from a modest background who's had amazing opportunities and acknowledging them. There is so much underappreciation of luck and of the American system itself, of great public education, of great public American communities that fuel the ability to progress in America. And I thought his enthusiasm for a Gavin Newsom and a Pete Buttigieg ticket was also really interesting, and he's coming out early and saying it. So next episode, which will be on Thursday, is with James Carville. Join us then. So if you like this podcast, please subscribe to it. Subscribe to The Daily Beast. Just go to thedailybeast.com and share it with everybody you know and everybody you don't know. And don't forget, never forget, be beast.